Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week is off to a good start. We're brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and fired up. You are here with us. Sean Fazan coming up in 15 minutes. He's down there in New Orleans with Fox 8. The Saints training camp opens tomorrow. We have made it through the NFL offseason. ESPN came up with a list today, 100 games that explain college football in 2026. LSU's included in 4 of those games. I want to discuss those. LSU's basketball schedule has been released. We'll get into that. We'll finish up our in-depth chart series. We've been doing that for 2 weeks. We'll do LSU's returners. We got to see a little bit of special teams in spring football, so I actually have a decent idea of who will be returning kicks and punts for LSU. We'll talk about that at 2 o'clock. And is an LSU Tiger, former LSU Tiger, headed to the NFL Hall of Fame next? We'll talk about that in hour number 2. Plenty to do. We start with baseball. It's our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
In 2 hours and 59 minutes, Major League Baseball's deadline is in effect for drafted players to sign their professional contracts. It is not believed that Logan Schmidt will be one of those. We wrote about it this weekend at LouisianaSports.net. You've probably been looking into it as well. This is a surprise to me because this very, 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 very rarely happens. So let's set the scene with Logan Schmidt. He was among the highest-rated players in this signing class for LSU. Depending on where you look, if you're Baseball America, if you're Purple Game, if you're Perfect Game, whatever the case may be, he's a top 70 player in this draft. 6'4", left-handed pitcher, 220 pounds, from California. Fastball up to 96 miles an hour, throws a ton of strikes, good breaking ball, and a guy that I didn't think LSU was going to get to school, and LSU didn't think they were going to get to school. Well, speaking with some sources this weekend, I was writing stories over at LouisianaSports.net, and there was some communication between LSU and Logan Schmidt and his camp leading up to the draft, but not a ton, because it was kind of understood that Logan Schmidt was going to start his professional career. And then there was some drama. Over the course of the summer, Logan Schmidt has changed agents. There was not enough conversation between the Guardians and Schmidt's camp. And when he was selected in the second round, there wasn't going to be enough money to get him to sign. This is a player that many people projected would get north of $3 million, perhaps north of $4 million. Well, once the Guardians signed their top 10, which is the slotted rounds of the MLB draft, when you look around, they only had $1.7 million left to spend on Logan Schmidt, and that's just significantly below his number. The big portion of the overage that Cleveland had, they paid to their 7th-round pick in Savion Sims. He got $1 million at a pick that was slotted for $280K. So they spent $720,000 over on Sims. They didn't have enough bonus pool money left to pay Logan Schmidt. So the question then becomes, does Schmidt do one of 3 things? Sign for the 1.7, just say, oh, well, we'll make it up in the big leagues. Does he go to LSU, where he would have to play 3 years, because he only turned 18 on Monday. He was on Thursday. He was one of the youngest players in this draft class. Or does he go to junior college and then enroll in next year's draft? And every player's circumstances are different. I was listening to a Guardians podcast. I cannot confirm this, but this is what the Locked On Cleveland host said, and he seemed to know what he was talking about, that Schmidt went to a high school where a lot of the players on the team were in kind of a baseball school, I use air quotes, and not like the actual high school. And his life has been around baseball, and he planned to sign professionally. But the money is not where he thought it could be. High school left-handers with 97-mile-an-hour fastballs and good command don't play a lot of college baseball. They get $3 million. They get $4 million. And that's not on the table here. And it's certainly not at junior college. You're not going to get that at LSU. But the Guardians couldn't negotiate because they spent their bonus pool. This is just a situation where there was some drama around the agent switch. The Guardians didn't have enough conversation. A deal was not struck. And then the signature didn't happen. I tell y'all entering the draft every year that if a high school signee goes in the first 10 rounds, he's going to sign. And I say that because it's not like the Guardians are going to recoup the $1.7 million that they didn't spend on Schmidt. They just lose that from their draft pool. So you're not going to use it to sign anybody else. It's just gone. So this happens once or twice a year. Top 10 round signees sign 98+% of the time. And these are the instances where it doesn't happen. They didn't come to an agreement on draft day. Sometimes there's a medical situation, like with Kumar Rocker, that forced the Mets not to sign him, and he went and played independent ball. So now the decision is going to be made by Schmidt. He decided yesterday not to sign with the Guardians. I'm not going to sign for the 1.7. So now the options are JUCO and LSU. And to you, you may say, well, why wouldn't you go to LSU? You can make some NIL money. They have revenue sharing available as well. You can make some money over the course of 3 years. You can develop in a pitching ecosystem that developed Paul Skeens and developed Cade Anderson and developed Anthony Eisen and developed Gage Jump, and all those guys signed for more than $1.7 million once they left LSU. You can compete. You can play on television. You can be a college kid, and then you get paid on the other end. Well, and that makes sense. All that's great. But then you go to JUCO. Why would you go to JUCO? What if you get hurt? What if you go to JUCO and you don't get any NIL money, and then you're not great in JUCO and your value drops? Well, that's part of the risk, but he also can turn around and get right back into the draft. Is he likely in junior college to greatly elevate himself over the course of a year in JUCO? He is not. But this is what I've been told the deciding factor in this decision ultimately will be. The battle that LSU is fighting with Logan Schmidt is not that LSU is some sort of bad spot to be. It's not that LSU doesn't have a great pitch to make. The battle that LSU is fighting is that as of 3 weeks ago, Logan Schmidt had zero intention of going to college. As of 3 weeks ago, he was not going to college. And it's a hard thing for an 18-year-old to swallow a reality in which I thought I was going to have $3 million and be done with school. And now I don't have any $1 million, and I got to go to 3 years of school before I can do this thing that I thought I was going to do this summer. That's the battle. And school's not for everybody. I'm not telling you it's not for Logan Schmidt. I'm just speaking in general terms here. Like, some people hate school, don't want to go to school, don't want to study for tests, don't want to do homework, don't want to have grades. Some people don't want to do that. And baseball allows you to drop out of high school, and go. Not drop out of high school, but drop school after high school is what I meant and said it poorly. And that's the battle that LSU is fighting. LSU's sales pitch is a very good one. And I am told now that because communication has ramped up, that the camp around Logan Schmidt and Logan Schmidt are both now receptive to the idea of going to school. It just wasn't on their radar 3 weeks ago. Now it is. The first big decision here was turning down 1.7 from Cleveland, and that has, on Instagram, been made. You got 3 hours, he can change his mind. But that has been made. And I think that's a mature decision at first. The question is, do we want to just run this thing back, hope we can get $2.5 million next year after a junior college season? He's still going to be 19 years old. That's not old. He can still probably cash in next year this time, and he doesn't have to take junior college classes all that seriously. Just make your grades in the fall and coast through the spring. That's the question. And right now, my information is that there's not really a strong lean. But this is not, there's no deadline anymore. After 4 o'clock, if you don't sign with Cleveland, you don't have a deadline for a few weeks until school. So you can take some time. It's not like you got to make a decision between junior college and LSU by 4 o'clock. You just got to make the Guardians' decision by 4. Sounds like he's made that. He has to take a physical to sign professionally. That has not happened. He would have to go to Goodyear, Arizona to do that, to the Guardian spring training facility. He has not, to my information. So he's not going to sign with Cleveland. Now it's JUCO or LSU. This would be a big get for LSU. There's no doubt about it. I was told that this is between Cam Johnson and Cade Anderson. Like, Cade Anderson was polished. He was coming off injury, but the delivery was clean. He commanded 4 pitches. Like, he was a really good prospect that were not for injury would probably have been ready to roll his freshman year at LSU. Cam Johnson was a great physical athlete, but didn't have the command to go with the physical ability. I'm told that Schmidt is somewhere between them. He throws a ton of strikes, like I mentioned. The fastball is firm at 95, 97. He got good breaking ball, throws a changeup. Like, he would help LSU next season. I'm not telling you he's a weekend starter. I'm not telling you he's the closer. But as a left-handed option, he would be a factor next year for LSU and projects as a front end of the rotation guy in time. No question. But the question is he willing to go to school for 3 years when that just wasn't in the plan? And that's just going to be a difficult decision for he and his camp to make. It was an odd set of circumstances that led to this, with the agent shift and the lack of communication from Cleveland and the intention to go pro, but then the running out of money because they gave the 7th-round pick way over slot, and then all of a sudden you look up and this just didn't work out the way that it probably should have. And now LSU may benefit from that. I tell you this all the time. Like, in the MLB draft, you're looking for a flaw. You're looking for a unique set of circumstances. Like, Alex Bregman have a broken hand is not a flaw, but it was a set of circumstances that didn't allow him to play as much as a senior and teams to make that jump to draft him. And this is a circumstance where, with the agent change, it got into a weird situation on draft day and they didn't have the money. So I don't have a prediction on this that is rooted in a ton of confidence. My guess, and I say that with a lot of oomph here, like, I'm guessing that he will go to junior college. That's my guess. But I do know this, that LSU is putting on the full court press, has a pitch, and look, this is not a hard pitch. Jay Johnson was in Pittsburgh yesterday watching Derek Curiel, who turned down draft money as a high schooler, sign for more than $6 million. He's got fat checks to his name with Jacob Berry and Dylan Cruz and Cade Anderson and Paul Skeens and Gage Jump and Anthony Einson and Luke Holman, like all these guys. But it's not as simple as black and white. The gray here is this kid did not envision 3 years on a college campus. If you ask me, he'll be going to LSU. I don't think he will. But the question is, does he want to run this back next year? And if he goes to LSU, he cannot. He would have to wait 3 years. So that's the Logan Schmidt situation. You can read about it at louisianasports.net. We've had multiple stories up there. I'm always interested in the reaction to content like this. And it was a free-for-all over the weekend with y'all checking up on that, so we appreciate that, and we'll keep you posted as we learn anything. Again, there's no deadline with LSU and junior college that's approaching. You got to enroll in school coming up, but it's still July. You got 3 weeks to get that done. So we'll keep you updated as things happen. I expect things to move along here in the next few days, but maybe not today. So we'll see. That's a start to our show here. Our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. When we come back, let's talk some Saints training camp. They're on the field tomorrow. Sean Fazan will be there. He's talking to us next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. It is storm season. It's been raining a lot. It was a dry weekend, but it has been raining a lot. Certainly last week it did. If you notice some leakage or feel like you might need someone to go check out your roof, let Lifetime Roofing do it. You can trust them. You can trust the folks at Lifetime Roofing. If they need to do a repair, they'll do a repair. If they need to fortify your roof, they'll give you a tune-up. They can do that as well. It's storm season. It might be a good idea. And if you need a new roof, they'll help you with that. You need to file a claim, they can work that out with you. If you just need to buy it through the retail market and you want to finance that, you can do that at Lifetime Roofing, and every single new roof comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty that obviously covers the workmanship. It also covers the materials as well, backed by Certainty, one of the oldest and most respected names in building. It's Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Raising Cane's is raising $1 million on National Chicken Finger Day for Chuck's charity, Kickstart Kids. Join us July 27th and help us continue Chuck Norris's legacy.
Chuck was a personal friend of Todd and the brand, and I know this would have meant the world to him.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Still got a little over a week before LSU reports to fall camp here in Baton Rouge, but NFL camps are breaking as we speak, and the Saints will be in action tomorrow. Sean Fazan covers the black and gold for WVUE Fox 8 down in New Orleans. Good enough to give us a little time here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline before things get started. Sean, we appreciate the time. How are you? Sean, are you there?
Yep.
There you go.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Yep, gotcha.
Good. So let's talk Saints first. Are you a little bit surprised that the Saints are going to break camp tomorrow and that Chris Olave does not have a new deal?
No, because there is if you just look at their history with these types of situations, when it comes to a player that they like, that they value, and that player is up for an extension, not a free agent.
I think we lost Sean there. Sean, can you hear me? May have a little bit of a cell issue. Okay, there you go. I've got you back now. But yeah,
right.
when you've got as you were saying, we lost you there. We said that when you've got a player that's up for an extension, not free agency, and you can continue.
Yeah, no. When you have a player up for an extension, not necessarily a free agent, the timeline is certainly different. Mickey Loomis is a naturally patient person, just in general. When you talk about the way he handles certain things, and especially when it comes to contract negotiations. But generally speaking, they get the job done. It's just from a timing standpoint. Sometimes it's during training camp. Sometimes it's during preseason. Sometimes you'll see something like week 1 or week 2 of a season. So there's not a whole lot of consistency when it comes to when they actually get these deals done. Obviously, when a player is going into the last year of his contract and he wants a new deal and is obviously up for a new deal, There's always that decision that will he, force the issue by, reporting, not reporting. It certainly feels like at this point Olave will be there, but I guess we'll know for sure Tuesday and Wednesday when they start practicing. But the other thing kind of complicating this, and this is, you could put this on the Saints or whoever, the market has changed pretty significantly since we've had this discussion when it comes to Chris Olave, where frankly a couple of guys got overpaid in the market. And I'm talking specifically Drake London. When you talk about him being the third highest paid receiver in the NFL at $36 million or whatever it is, that makes things a little more complicated. And does that affect the price range for Chris Olave getting him signed? All those things will hopefully be worked out in due time. But no, it's not a crazy surprise that he doesn't have a deal done just yet.
Let's talk Tyler Shuck. Obviously, a very different circumstance than this time last year, where he was splitting reps with Spencer Rattler. How much different do you anticipate this camp being for him, and how beneficial?
Oh, 180. I mean, last year he's trying to find his footing, just learning life in the NFL as a rookie, while also competing, for the starting quarterback job. And at this point in training camp, I would say the first wave of training camp, he was significantly behind Spencer Rattler in terms of what they were doing on the field. And really from that first preseason game on, he had really closed the gap. Obviously, we know how the season played out, and eventually he got his chance to start week 9 of the season. But this year, it's all him, and everything's been geared around him. They've made significant offensive investments, all for the purpose of getting the best out of Tyler Shuck because of what he showed at the end of last season when he was able to do a lot. And if you go back and check some of the players he was working with those last couple weeks of the season, was very, very, very little. So it's a complete 180. And franchise-wise, look, you follow football a long time. You can have a lot of boxes checked in your organization. If you know the quarterback box checked, there's going to be fear. On the flip side, you could have the quarterback box checked and maybe not some other boxes checked and still feel pretty good about where you stand because you have that quarterback box checked. I think that's where the Saints currently are right now. They feel like they're not want to go all in yet because he's only got 9 starts in terms of their excitement, but I do think inside that building, they feel like they have someone at the game's premier position, and they're putting all resources, planning, and the entire process into getting the best out of him because they think he can bring them, back into the playoffs hopefully soon.
We know Jordan Tyson's injury history, and we know that they really eased him in over the summer. What do you expect to see from him in the first couple of weeks of camp?
Well, that is the biggest sort of, all right, first day of camp, check out where he's going to be at because, we saw him at rookie minicamp, just doing some routes on air type stuff, nothing crazy. And we didn't really see him again in either the OTAs or minicamp. He was out there. I saw him doing some punt return stuff where he was just kind of catching the ball. It wasn't anything moving or anything, but he wasn't doing anything offensively. And obviously they have a plan in terms of, getting him back to health. And not just a plan in terms of getting him back to health. I think he's there, or at least appeared that way. It's gearing him up for the ramp-up period of what's going to be a pretty intense training camp. So if he's not on the field and it lingers into August and mid-August, then we got a serious situation or a significant situation. If they're still taking it slow, incremental, I guess it's sort of how every organization is different. Every training staff is different. Then I guess you have to respect the process of what they want to do when it comes to that. But there's going to come a time where he has got to get on the football field, where all the ramp up, all the precautions have to be thrown out, and he's just playing ball. If you ask him, I'm sure that's where he is right now. We'll see Wednesday when practices start exactly if he's on the field ready to go.
Sean Fazand is our guest of Fox 8, covering the black and gold. Saints in training camp practice tomorrow. Another guy that fits kind of that description as well, you got to get on the field or you're probably not going to make the team in this instance, is Kendre Miller. What can you tell us about him recovering from injury and if he may be available?
Well, look, that's another one. I mean, look, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to figure out a way. This was, I remember being in L.A. the second year of DA when we had the training camp out there. First practice, first warm-up, he pulls a hamstring. I remember DA even saying he's got to figure out a way to stay healthy, and that has followed him throughout his career. And it's a shame because when he's on the field, you can certainly envision a role for him. So I would say in his case, not every injury situation is the exact same, but for him, a guy with a history, a guy who this organization has kind of been waiting on for a while, he needs to get healthy in a hurry. So hopefully he's made some progress in the offseason. Didn't see him much at OTAs and minicamp. So hopefully he's back on the field, because if he's not, you're talking about a guy that could be on the outside looking in when it comes down to cut down day at the running back room.
No question about it. I'm curious your thoughts on the rest of the rookie class beyond Jordan Tyson. Is there a player or two that you feel like could really make some waves this summer?
Yeah, the next two right there in order. Christian Miller is a defensive tackle position in this scheme. This guy comes in as a run stuffer. If you look at the way Brandon Staley runs the scheme, it's almost on purpose. He's a little vulnerable against the run, just because of the numbers that he likes to use in certain situations, in the box, out the box. So Kendra Miller is the guy they brought in to help with the run game. It's not always the easiest to gauge in training camp because it's training camp and you tend to follow the ball, and you don't always have pads on. Hopefully the pads will come on pretty soon, and then we can get a better gauge of where he's at. And in the preseason, hopefully he can stand out. And then Oscar Delp is a guy that started to watch the back end of minicamp. He had a couple of really good days. And he's a guy that they drafted that it almost feels like they felt like they got a steal. In other words, where they drafted him versus where they graded him, it felt like they had a much higher grade, higher priority in bringing him in. So you look at, it goes back to the original thought of, all this investment around Tyler Shuck. Oscar Delp is another one of those guys in terms of being a two-way type of tight end. So those would be the two. Barry Brown's another one. I think he's a guy who's got his way on is going to be via the return route, being as a returner. And then, you look at Bryce Lance, looks the part, very tall, stays on the boundary, a little lean right now for my taste. Probably got to put a little on, so I don't know how physically if he's going to be able to hold up in training camp and in the preseason, and maybe there's some time before he actually gets on the field. But the fact that they made that kind of investment in him is another one where you're like, okay, look, they're serious about building around Tyler Shuck and getting themselves as many options as possible to get the best out of his game.
Hydrate, Sean. Gonna be some hot ones out there. I know the camp grind is crazy, but we're all thrilled it's here. Thanks for the time, man.
All right, bud. Happy football season. Happy
football season. That's Sean Fasan down there with Fox 8 in New Orleans, covering the black and gold. I know y'all don't care at all, but it is remarkably hot out there at those football practices in July and August, because by definition, like what do you when you're outside, what are you looking for this time of year, this part of the world? Like trees and stuff, right? Like a little shade? No. It's just like 3 football fields out there, and if the wind's not blowing, you just sit there and cook. And we're all prepared. We all know it's coming. It doesn't surprise anybody, but it is quite hot to go out there and stand there in the sun and take notes. Sweat dripping on my notebook. It's like I have to manage how many showers I'm taking a day, because I get up and run in the morning, then I shower, and then I'm going out to the facility and I stand out there and probably need to shower again before I come sit in this chair and do the show, and then I got to shower. It's a 3-shower day for these camps, but we love it. Obviously, I talk about the dog days of summer in this job just because there's sometimes not as much news going around when they're not playing any games, but we're getting there. The Saints on the practice field tomorrow. LSU, I believe the 4th or 5th is their first practice. Middle of next week, it'll be LSU, and we'll certainly have you covered on LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson will be out there at Saints camp every single day, writing up the most detailed practice reports I've ever seen in my life. And then Matt and I will be out there for LouisianaSports.net for LSU coming up in a week and a half. So we're almost there. Exciting stuff, and it should be a fun year for the Saints. Appreciate Sean for giving us a little bit of time. Speaking of games, cool story on ESPN.com, 100 games that explain college football in 2026. It goes back about the history of college football. LSU involved in 4 of those. I was in person for 3 of them, so we'll take a little trip down memory lane when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTrosOnline.com. GoTro's Outdoor Power. 2 locations, so go check them out. One on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, the other down in Gonzales. They are the National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years at GoTros. If you need a new zero-turn mower, go by and see them. And they've got amazing deals going on in July. And keep in mind, month's about up. So you might want to get by one day this week. 20% off MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers. That's 20% off MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers. And 0% financing is available for 48 months. This is the time to get by GoTros and get that new zero turn. If you've got a big property and you need to manage it, GoTros Outdoor Power. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. Online at GoTrosOnline.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. but our #1 product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. They're on Segan at Perkins. Become a member at Swing Easy Golf Club. Such a cool spot. You can swing on by before work, swing on by at lunch, get on by after work or on the weekends. Membership comes with the ability to use facility at a discount rate early in the month. You also can entertain clients there. Got locker space. It's a great place to hang out, work on your game, have some fun, play on the courses. They've got great membership options, both for corporates and personal. Just get by and ask. Go see him on Segan at Perkins. If you've never played simulator golf before, it really is fun. It's a different experience than playing out on a course, but it's climate controlled. It's quicker. It's private. And it's a lot of fun. So get on by and make a weekend out of it, or swing by after work. Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com. All right, ESPN comes with lists this time of year, right? And I just like to check the local angle out. And they put together 100 games in the history of college football that helped shape where we are today. And LSU's listed in 4 of them. And 3 of them are positive memories. One's not. But number 25 on this list in the innovation category is LSU beating Clemson 42-25 in the national championship game on January 13th of 2020. The blurb writes, the offensive innovation of the previous 20 years, wider splits on the offensive line, more passing, run-pass options. they all came together in 2019 to produce one of the best offenses we've ever seen. Joe Burrow threw for 5,600 yards and 60 touchdowns. Absolutely preposterous numbers, and LSU topped 40 points in 12 of 15 games, rolling to a demonstrative national title against defending champion Clemson in the title game. Burrow threw for 463 yards and 5 touchdowns. And when I think about that team, when I think about that game, I think about the fact that Clemson went up early, and I think about a text that a buddy sent to our group text. It's like, we're in a little bit of trouble. And I remember thinking to myself, there are 2 guys that have done this to me, Burrow and Skeens. But I thought to myself, even though Clemson was winning the game, I thought, if I don't have confidence in this team, in this spot, then when will I ever have confidence in an LSU team the rest of my life? I really thought that. I thought that with Skeens toward the end. I was like, if he's pitching, LSU's going to win. Because if I don't have confidence that he's going to win, then what am I even doing here, right? And that's what it felt like watching LSU. And, of course, they just started cooking, and Clemson had no answer, and they scored 42 points because that's just what that team was going to do. And it's so rare that you see something in sports or you watch a team or a player in sports and you think to yourself, it may not ever get any better than this. And that's the way I felt probably after the SEC championship game where they torched Georgia. I thought to myself, like, this is probably the best I'll ever see. I hope I'm wrong. Look, Jaden was pretty damn good a few years later. But when I'm watching Burrow and Chase and Jefferson and Marshall and Clyde and that group, just thinking to myself, like, this is probably the best. Doesn't mean it's the last championship team. This is probably the best. And it's rare that happens. Like, I didn't think that about the 03 team. I didn't think that about the 07 team. I don't know that I thought that about the Cubs in 2016. I thought they were the best team in baseball that year. But, like, in the middle of this season, I was like, okay, this is the best. And that's a cool thing. So to continue on, 36 on the list is LSU defeating Oklahoma in January of 2004 to win the national championship. It says in the BCS's 6th year, we got another split national title. USC, the AP's top-ranked team, finished 3rd in the BCS standings, won the Rose Bowl, and remained number 1, while LSU claimed to share the title by beating Oklahoma in the BCS title game. As it turned out, the BCS's biggest issue was getting to pick only 2 teams. It took another decade to rectify that. That game will be so special to so many people for so long. It was LSU's first title in most people's lifetimes. There certainly were some people who would remember 1958 that were there for 2003, but not a lot. And to see LSU climb to that stage, when you consider that 5 years previous, LSU was a punchline in the SEC, like, well, more than 5, closer to 10. But it was remarkable to see that rise. We went in the span of 8 years. You went from, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we got to the Independence Bowl, to we win the national championship. Like, that's a stark. It's not Indiana, but it's in that realm. LSU had a much prouder history. I'm not comparing Indiana being atrocious for 100 years and then going 15-0 to that exactly, but it was a kind of a worst to first thing. And LSU did that on that night in January in the Superdome that I'll remember for a very, very, very long time. Number 39 on the list is LSU losing to Alabama 21-0 in the title game, but it's paired with Iowa State beating Oklahoma State in November. And so the 2 games that broke the camel's back, the drumbeat for a playoff had already grown deafening by 2011, but when Iowa State upset unbeaten Oklahoma State late in the season, thanks in part due to an Oklahoma State missed field goal by a millimeter, if at all, Alabama ended up landing the number 2 spot and getting a rematch against unbeaten LSU after a classic 9-6 win in Tuscaloosa. The title game was a 60-minute sleeper hold in the Tide's favor, and the poor television ratings that resulted from it convinced the final holdouts that a 4-team playoff was a pretty good idea. I don't think we want to rehash the national title game because it was so awful. Just awful. I had literally the worst seat in the Superdome. Literally the worst one. And if you think, well, I was pretty high up. Well, I was in the press box, which was on the roof, and I was in the last seat all the way to the right, which had a wooden wall right next to my right ear. that blocked out the end zone. Now, LSU didn't need the end zone. I didn't need to see the end zone. It didn't matter. And by the time Trent Richardson ran for the only touchdown of the game, I was in the elevator going down to do interviews and didn't even see it. So I didn't see it. So, but I had the worst seat in the dome for the worst thing I've ever watched in my life. It was just absolutely awful. But I will take this opportunity to suggest that I was in a bar in Memphis, Tennessee, the Friday night that Iowa State beat Oklahoma State. I was going to go to LSU Ole Miss when LSU kneeled with 5 minutes to go in the game. Y'all remember that game? The night before that was when Iowa State beat Oklahoma State, and I was in Memphis staying with my buddies before I drove down to Oxford, and I watched it, and the second that game went final, I got a sick pit in my stomach, and I went, that's going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem, because they're going to let Alabama back in this game, and that's a problem. Because I just watched LSU play Alabama, and it was a marvelous football game, 9-6. I will never listen to anyone who says that game stunk. I know people like to see points, but when you look at the rosters from that game and you look at the defense that was played, those quarterbacks stunk that day, no doubt. Field goal kickers stunk that day, no doubt. But the physical 11-on-11 football was brilliant, and the environment was brilliant, and there were celebrities everywhere. I was in Bryant-Denny that night. It was unbelievable. But I knew that it was going to be a problem trying to beat that team twice. And I knew that LSU would have cleaned Oklahoma State's clock, just like they did West Virginia, just like they did Oregon. And I felt that night that there was a big problem. Now, I remember being in Atlanta after LSU beat Georgia, the Tyron game, and watching Oklahoma State. I was at Stats, the sports bar, and I remember watching Oklahoma State hammer Oklahoma, which I thought maybe that's enough to convince the people to vote it and to plug that into the BCS, but it ultimately was not. So no good in that situation. So that's the third one. And the last one, number 88, dramatic finishes, of course, the Bluegrass Miracle. I've got interesting memories of that as well. I wasn't at that game in Lexington. It was November 9th, 2002. I was at home. Me and my dad were watching the game. Super bummed, obviously. You're talking about a team that should beat Kentucky, that is getting beat by Kentucky. And me and my dad decided we were going to go play 9 holes of golf after the game ended. Remember, it was the Jefferson Pilot game. It was the 11 o'clock game, so there's still time after that game. And so we were going to go play golf afterwards, and so we were dressed and ready to go play golf. And the Bluegrass Miracle happens. Devery catches it and runs into the end zone, and I just looked at my dad, and I go, we won. There's not a huge celebration. It didn't run around the house, didn't scream, nobody's clapping. I just kind of looked at him and go, we won. There's 2 times I can remember being almost disheartened by a win. It was this game, the Bluegrass Miracle. It's not disheartened. It was cool to see, and you're glad they won. But the T-Bob snap Tennessee game with the untimed down, that was Ridley runs in on the untimed down for a touchdown, and Tiger Stadium didn't even cheer. Everybody just walked out. It's how did we almost lose to Tennessee? They stink. We're supposed to be good. And it was when everybody was kind of down on less. And those are the 2 wins I can remember. The Bluegrass Miracle and the Tennessee T-Bob snap game where I went, oh, we won? Great. Which is probably not the best way to be a fan. You should enjoy yourself. But the Bluegrass Miracle was something wild. And I also have another worthless nugget on the Bluegrass Miracle. Me and my dad did go play golf that afternoon. And how old was I for that game? 2002. So I was 14. And I holed out a bunker shot, which I had never done before on the golf course. So it was a day where LSU won on a Hail Mary from 70 yards, and I holed out a bunker shot on the golf course. Probably still shot $1 billion, but I made a bunker shot same day as the Bluegrass Miracle. So that got that going for me. That's a look at ESPN's top 100 games that have shaped where we are in college football. LSU included 4 times. LSU beating Clemson in the national championship, the Oklahoma national title that had a split there, Bama Natty loss that destroyed the BCS for good, and then the Bluegrass Miracle in the dramatic finishes. So you can go check out the entirety of the list. It is still lift season to a degree. The Saints aren't on the practice field just yet. LSU's not on the practice field just yet. So get to one there from ESPN.com. We actually may talk about another one in the second hour. You just never know. We'll see. When we come back, we will close out hour number 1. LSU's basketball schedule came out today. I'll have a thought on the non-conference, another thought on the conference games, as well as Will Wade's first team is set to crank things up in November. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com is the website. But stop on by. If you're in Southeast Louisiana, there's one close. There's 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. So if you're in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa, maybe down the bayou in St. James, St. John's, Lafourche, if you're near Baton Rouge and Dutchtown, Jones Creek, maybe you're in Metairie, there's a First American Bank and Trust near you. And the best thing about banking local with First American Bank and Trust is you know that the decisions that are being made on your personal loan, on your commercial loan, are being made by someone in Southeast Louisiana. When you call your bank, when you bank with First American Bank and Trust, you get someone in Southeast Louisiana, not a call center in Chicago or San Francisco, someone right here. That's the difference. And you think, oh, that's a community bank, maybe not the resources that I'm looking for with my big national bank. Wait a second. 25 locations. They've got resources. Check them out online at fabt.com or stop in. It's First American Bank and Trust.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
People think it's all about game day.
Let's go!
But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts, extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns.
Listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Need that Generac home standby generator? There's only one call you need to make, and that's to, you guessed it, Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil, Melissa Boudreaux. Been running the show for 40 years there. Son Justin does a great job as well. Give him a call at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or 225-300-9389 is in Gonzales. It is storm season. It's been relatively quiet. We want to keep it that way. It's been quiet for a couple of years. But we know there is inherent risk this part of the world this time of year. So if you want to get that Generac home standby generator to give yourself the peace of mind, whether it's at your home or your business that you own, then call Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Have them come out and install that Generac home standby generator so you know that you're not going to lose power. It's a comforting feeling. Call Neil and Melissa, 985-397-1562, Boudreaux's Electrical Services. All right, LSU's basketball schedule was released today in full non-conference and conference play. Tigers will play 3 exhibitions this year. They'll go to McNeese to play an exhibition in Lake Charles on Thursday, October the 8th. They will play Central Florida in Baton Rouge. That's a return trip. If you remember last year, they played Central Florida in an exhibition that was televised. That's where we kind of figured out that they might have something to point guard. So they'll do that in a return trip here to Baton Rouge, and then LSU will go to Tallahassee to play Florida State in an exhibition as well. That'll be October the 24th. And LSU will open the season on Tuesday. That's November the 3rd against what is now called LSU New Orleans. They've been rebranded, obviously part of the LSU system now, so it's not UNO, LSU New Orleans. Texas Southern is game number 2 that Friday. Of course, Johnny Jones just left there to come back and be the assistant coach. They'll play Louisiana Tech. And then the big one in the non-conference, Saturday the 14th of November against Gonzaga. If you'll recall, that's the day that LSU plays Texas in football in Tiger Stadium. My information right now, I haven't seen this printed anywhere. My information right now is the plan is to play that Gonzaga game at very late at night, at like 7 or 8 o'clock Gonzaga time in Spokane. So potentially like 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. our time in Central. I don't know if that's in stone, but I was told that a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if that does happen. ULM Queens, who made the NCAA tournament, is on the schedule as well. Tigers go out to Palm Springs for a tournament for a couple. Wake Forest comes to Baton Rouge in the SEC ACC Challenge. And LSU will play at Houston on December the 13th at the Toyota Center over there in Houston. The start to the SEC is going to be bumpy. Let's just say it. LSU opens with a game. I don't know anything about South Carolina's team this year, like nothing, but I'm just going to assume they're not one of the best teams in the league, and it's at home. So that's a relatively benign start to the conference season. But listen to this after that one game. January, at Alabama, Tennessee at home, at Kentucky, at A&M, Texas, Auburn, at Arkansas, and then at Georgia. But like Arkansas's got lottery picks, Kentucky's got lottery picks, Bama's always good, Tennessee's always good, Texas is thought to be very, very good this year. Like that is a remarkable gauntlet that's going to be thrown down after LSU opens with South Carolina. Again, it's at Bama, Tennessee, at Kentucky, at A&M, Texas, Auburn, at Arkansas, at Georgia. That's January. Now, February sounds a little bit more manageable. You've got Vanderbilt at home, good coach, but I don't think that's going to be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. Ole Miss at home, they weren't very good last year under Chris Beard. At Oklahoma, they probably should have fired Porter Moser. So then you got Florida coming to the PMAC, but you're at Mississippi State, who wasn't great last year. At Auburn, I don't think Auburn's going to be what they once were under Bruce Pearl. I just don't think Stephen Pearl is Bruce Pearl. So you're at Auburn, and you got A&M at home. So, like, Florida's going to be great. They've got their front court back that's going to be making $1 billion and has won a ton of games. But everything else in February is fairly manageable. LSU's chore here under Will Wade is going to be to find somehow, some way to stay afloat in January because there is a reprieve coming on the back end. And your last 2 games are a home game against Arkansas, and then you're at Missouri to close things out. Both those are in the month of March. But like you've got a shot in February to pick some games off, but you have to stay alive in January. Like you can't go on a 7-game losing streak. And again, I don't even know what LSU's team's going to look like, y'all. I have no idea what the courts are going to decide, what players they're targeting. I told you 2 weeks ago that I had a conversation with someone inside the basketball program, and that they're comfortable and confident with what they've got and the cases they've made and the commitments that they have and what they're going to do from a personnel standpoint. It's just not public. And I don't have anything further to add to that other than to say, sounds like they got their ducks in a row. But from the outside, it's nerve-wracking because you never get to this point in the calendar without a firm feel for what the roster looks like. And right now, from the outside, we do not. But as I told y'all 2 weeks ago, if they didn't have guys that they knew were going to be eligible, they would have gone and backfilled with lesser players. They would have done it. Will Wade's not dumb. You could say brash. You could say confident. You could say a lot of things about Will Wade. But he's not dumb. And there's no way that he's going to go into this basketball season with 8 guys on scholarship. Well, we tried to get the international guys. They're not eligible, so we just didn't fill it. Like that. Say that out loud. You think Will Wade's going to do that? He's not. We just don't know the names, and they'll come. But it's a brutal month of January for LSU on the hardwood that lightens up a little bit in February. But January is the month where basketball it attempts to steal some spotlight here in Baton Rouge, because you got football that runs all the way to Christmas, right? And then you've got baseball that's right there in the middle of February. Basketball is trying to win its share of the conversation in January. And they certainly can. If they start winning some of these games, you better believe it'll steal some attention. But there's also a thought that they could lose 4 or 5 in a row. Again, probably not, but lose 4 or 5 in a row, and then people in this town just throw their hands up. So it's a tough spot. Hoops is going to have to figure it out. But I trust Will Wade with roster management. I think we'll get some good news on that front over the course of the next 2 weeks. All right, our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. They're online at guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. Rachel Fricke and her team just do phenomenal work. If you have not considered your digital footprint, your website, your patient experience in the healthcare field, check out Guarantee Health Solutions. They're online at guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. In-depth chart. Who's returning punts and kickoffs for LSU this season? We'll talk about it after SportsCenter.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That is FabryChevrolet.com. Been telling you these awesome deals all month long. And you have until August 3rd to get by and score them. But I would suggest you get by and do that as quickly as you can, because GMC is offering employee pricing on the 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's. Now until August 3rd, you can get up to $8,000 off select Denali's. Chevy's offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on the 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. You got that right, 3 months. No payments now until August 3rd. And Chevy's offering bonus cash on select new vehicles to firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, and EMT paramedics. So get by and see them in Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can check out the inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com. Always invite you to do that. But get by and see them. See why the Fabry family has been in business for 35 years. Their customer service is second to none. So check out that entire inventory. It is online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last, because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. The wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot Sunday night in her Virginia home. Police have charged their 27-year-old son Elijah. Bieniemy is in stable condition and remains hospitalized. Eric Bieniemy has left Chiefs camp, and Coach Andy Reid says there is no timetable for Bieniemy's return. North Carolina football general manager Michael Lombardi has been placed on administrative leave for the university. No details were given by the school, but the decision stemmed from a human resources complaint filed by a former UNC employee. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones said on the Pat McAfee show he's been cleared for practice at training camp. Jones is coming off an Achilles injury last September. By tomorrow, all 32 teams will be in camp, and Tampa quarterback Baker Mayfield is looking for a new deal, and ESPN's Dan Graziano talked about the progress in talks.
There's a big gap between the number he was asking for and the number they were willing to pay, but, you know, these things can get done as deadlines get closer, and if that's a real deadline, then I'm sure the Buccaneers are paying attention to it.
The Bucs report to camp tomorrow. Baseball this afternoon, top of the second. Rangers and Mariners tied at 1. Texas leads Seattle by a game and a half in the AL West.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. If you missed any of hour number 1, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Sean Fazan jumped aboard in hour number 1 to talk Saints, who are on the practice field tomorrow for training camp. Officially reports down in Metairie. Talked a little bit about LSU's basketball schedule in hour number 1 and broke down my take on the Logan Schmidt situation for LSU baseball. If you missed that this weekend, he was taken in the second round of the MLB draft, is not going to sign. The deadline is 2 hours away. Now the question is, will he go to LSU? Will he go to junior college? I gave kind of the reasons why he is not signing and my thoughts on his future. So you can go back and catch that on demand, or you can read about it over at LouisianaSports.net. Speaking of LouisianaSports.net, I did a series breaking down LSU's depth chart offensively and defensively and whatever the special teams, and that's where we finish here. Is with special teams, specifically the return game. We talked about their kicking and punting back on Friday, and now we'll talk about returning. Xavier Thomas and Barryon Brown both came in from SEC schools with a history of returning and making big plays in the return game, and both guys did score touchdowns in the return game at LSU. Xavier Thomas did so, I believe, twice. Barryon Brown finally got it done against Houston, the bowl game. Thomas scored 3 special teams touchdowns in his career, and he led the SEC in kickoff return yards in 2024. Both guys parlayed those return skills into NFL draft picks. You saw Xavier Thomas go to the Bears earlier than I thought he probably would, and the Saints took a swing at Barryon Brown as well. And I looked back at my notes from spring practice to look at who would be doing the returning, because you realize that Xavier Thomas and Barryon Brown are gone. And we don't know how Lane Kiffin is going to prioritize that. We certainly don't know how Joe Houston's going to prioritize that. Over the time just at LSU, different head coaches, different special teams coaches, you've seen different philosophies in the return game. Some guys are back there to make huge plays, like Xavier Thomas, like Barryon Brown, like Derek Stingley, like Trenton Holiday. And some guys are back there to catch the football and protect the football. Chad Jones comes to mind in that way. He did have an unbelievable return against Mississippi State, but he was back there to catch the football. I think Nick Brissett returning kickoffs. That's not a guy that you think is going to house one from 95 yards out, but he'll catch it and he'll control the football. So I'm curious to see what LSU tries to do. I like the playmakers. I like Stingley back there. I like Tyrann Mathieu back there. I like Patrick Peterson back there. Those are all defensive guys. I don't think LSU is going to put a defensive back there this year. Why? Because they're thin. They're thin at corner, and their safeties are going to be really impactful guys that I don't think are candidates. I don't think Deshaun Spears and Ty Benefield are candidates to go back there. And at corner, you're one cornerback injury away from being in big trouble. So you're not going to have a cornerback there. Your candidates are wide receivers and running backs. And I went back and looked at my notes from spring practice to see who we saw working with kick return, working with punt return. And this is from my notes. I can't promise you this is complete, and I can't promise you that this is what it's going to look like when we go out there in a couple weeks. But this is what I had in my notebook from the spring. Caden Durham, Harlem Berry, Dylan Jones, Stacey Gage, Corey Barber. That group did a lot on kickoff return. It's the running backs, and then Corey Barber, the freshman wide receiver that was an Ole Miss commitment that flipped to LSU. They did a lot of work in kickoff return. It would not surprise me at all to see those guys back there. I think Caden Durham makes a ton of sense. He does have some real speed. He's low to the ground. He's got some experience carrying the football. I like that a lot. I think Harlem Berry could be a good kickoff returner. Dylan Jones, I don't know quite enough about. Just know the highlight tapes and what he looks like in person. That's a big physical guy. I'm not sure of his top-end speed. Stacey Gage can really run, and Corey Barber is a really explosive wide receiver. So that would make some sense. LSU last year only returned 23 kickoffs, under 2 per game. The touchback still kind of reigns in college, where the NFL is really trying to get the kick return to be emphasized with the new rules that they put in. But only 23 kickoffs last year. That's not a lot of returns. I think Caden Durham is my bet to be the kickoff returner, but I wouldn't make a strong bet on that. Let's talk about punt returning, because that's a bigger variable here, right? That's where you can lose games, muffin punts and making misplays back there, and you can also change games with big plays in the return game. So I looked at LSU's players that were taking some punt return reps in spring and looked back at their history and if any of them did return punts where they were. Winnie Watkins did not field a punt last year at Ole Miss. Jace Brown did not return any punts at Kansas State. Dylan Jones did not return any punts for Wisconsin. Tyree Holloway is an interesting prospect for this because he's really shifty and short, and he's probably not going to be heavily used in the wide receiver game, so it's not like a big risk to put him back there as far as like injury or fatigue or anything like that. Maybe he can specialize in that. But these guys did not return punts last year at their previous stops. But here are the guys that I saw doing most of the punt returning. Jace Brown, Winnie Watkins, Dylan Jones, Trey Wilson from Florida, Tyree Holloway, and Jabari Mack, freshman wide receiver, who comes in from New Orleans. I look at these guys with different skill sets. Winnie Watkins and Trey Wilson are shorter and really quick. They're in like the Skylar Green mold where they're shifty back there, right? Jace Brown is just a really smooth route runner. He's got a little bit more height than those guys. I don't know if he's as fast as them, but he is really smooth in space. Dylan Jones is a big physical running back. I don't think he's going to be back there returning punts. And Jabari Mack's got elite speed, big-time speed for Jabari Mack. Tyree Holloway is another one of those shorter, shiftier guys. I kind of think Jace Brown might be a punt returner. Now, again, this is a deal where I don't know enough about Kiffin and don't know how he operates. How do you feel putting your number one receiver out there? And Jace Brown might be the number one receiver. I don't know. Like Ruben Randall went back there and caught punts for LSU as a number one receiver. And that's, again, another guy that you weren't really counting on to hit a big play, but he would catch it. He'd catch the football. So this is a very, very interesting. I'd be okay with a lot of these guys. The only problem I saw in the spring was that Trey Wilson muffed 3 punts that I saw. Just that I saw he muffed 3. Like, that is a huge red flag to me. You muff 1 punt in practice, I'll get over it. It's March, okay, whatever. But 3, and it wasn't like we were out there that much for punt coverage. So that was a red flag to me of like, if that happens routinely, it's probably not the best idea I've ever seen. But his suddenness and quickness, when you watch him run routes, it's like, oh, that guy would be an incredible returner. So I kind of think Jace Brown's my pick, but I'd be fine with Winnie Watkins back there. I'd be fine with Trey Wilson back there. I'd be fine with Tyree Holloway specializing in that. And look, Jabari Mack's a freshman, so I doubt that very seriously. But this is an important role that LSU needs to get filled at punt returner. it's got to be. You have no shortage of options, but we'll see. I'll go with Jace Brown and see if that ends up being what comes of it. So that's a look at the entirety of the LSU roster. We went through the offensive line, tight ends, wideouts, running backs, quarterbacks, defensive tackles, edge rushers, linebackers, corners, safeties, kickers, punters, and returners. Pretty much hit it all. So if I mentioned this on Friday of last week, if you don't really lock in on football during the summer, you're on vacation, you're playing golf, you're at the lake or the beach or whatever the case may be, and you're feeling like, all right, it's time to kind of ease back into football. One of my buddies texted me something kind of similar to that the other day. And if that's the case with you and you'd like to freshen up on this LSU football team, go back to LouisianaSports.net, click the teams tab, and then go to LSU football, and you'll go and you'll see my in-depth chart. They're all there. Every single position is written through in depth, and you can familiarize yourself with the roster with a lot of new dudes. If you'd like to do it in terms of a podcast or in visual modem, you can do it through Hunt on LSU as well. We've got all the episodes saved up there at the YouTube channel. We've got to every position in-depth chart, but that'll conclude our run through LSU's roster with the return game, which I expect LSU to be pretty good in, despite the fact that they lost two damn good ones in Barryon Brown and Xavion Thomas. Our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions, online at guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. When we come back, there's an LSU player that was called a Lock Hall of Famer. And I didn't know that was necessarily the reality, but the description kind of made sense. We'll tell you who it is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Our friends at Ochsner want to remind you to stay hydrated, because this time of year, the heat can take its toll. We were talking about it when we hung up the phone with Sean Pazand earlier. We go out to those football practices, and you feel it in the heat of the day. Look, you got to pay attention to some symptoms of heat-related sickness. Dry or sticky mouth, feeling lightheaded, not using the bathroom as much, maybe your heart rate's elevated, mental changes. That's a major red flag. The key here is, if you feel off, stop. If you feel off, stop. If you're out for less than an hour, make sure you drink a cup of water every 15 minutes. If you're out for over an hour, you need to mix in some electrolytes as well. Do it with the limited sugar options. And just stay hydrated. If you feel off, stop. And if you're developing dehydration symptoms, you need medical attention, find your nearest Ochsner Urgent Care at ochsner.org/UC. That's ochsner.org/UC.
Raising Cane's is honoring Chuck Norris on National Chicken Finger Day. For every box combo sold on July 27th, Cane's is donating $1 to Chuck's Foundation, Kickstart Kids.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern Classic. Order online.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Monday show is always brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions, online at GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com. Interesting piece on ESPN.com today by Bill Barnwell talking about the 2011 draft. It was headlined by Cam Newton, but he asked if it was the greatest draft of all time. And then he writes in one of the blurbs, in the subheadings, the Hall of Fame locks from the 2011 draft. J.J. Watt is first. I don't have any argument with that. Was as dominant an edge player as there was in the league for a number of years. Von Miller, I don't have any problem with that. It's a guy that is ticketed for the Hall of Fame for sure. Defensive Rookie of the Year from this class. Was second in the Defensive Player of the Year, balloting twice. He's 9th all-time in career sacks. Played a key role in 2 Super Bowl wins, one for the Broncos, one for the Rams, and Super Bowl MVP for a 2.5 sack Super Bowl against the Panthers back in Super Bowl 50. So, yeah, it makes sense. Richard Sherman. Yeah, he was as good a corner as there was for a while. Was a big personality, 5th round pick that turned into a heck of a player and can really go. And the next guy on the list is Patrick Peterson. And I wouldn't say I was shocked to hear that he's a lock Hall of Famer, but I will admit to you like readily that I don't know if I was prepared to say that this morning. I don't think I was aware that he was a lock Hall of Famer before I read this piece. I know that Patrick Peterson had a really good and long NFL career, no question. I know that he was always considered a really good player. I just don't know if I knew he was a lock to get into the Hall of Fame. The writing on this was really crystallized things for me. Barnwell writes, if Peterson doesn't feel like a lock, consider this fact. And that made me feel better because at least he's writing saying, yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but if you're not sure, here's why. The LSU product made it to the Pro Bowl in each of his first 8 seasons. He's one of just 16 players to start their career going 8 for 8 in the Pro Bowl. 12 of those are eligible for the Hall of Fame, and all of them are in. The 3 others who are not yet eligible for this enshrinement are Aaron Donald, Tyreek Hill, and Quentin Nelson, each of whom are likely to walk in as a first ballot entrant. Peterson might have had relatively muted into his career after that 8-year start, but it would be a surprise if he had much trouble getting into the Hall. I mean, obviously I knew Aaron Donald was walking in the Hall of Fame, and yes, Quentin Nelson makes a ton of sense as well. I'm not even sure if I knew that Tyreek Hill was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I know he's put up some monster numbers in Kansas City and then right there at the beginning in Miami before he got hurt. But that didn't click to me as first ballot Hall of Famer. I guess my sense on this is not great, but I'm thrilled to hear that stat that it looks like, everybody who's ever gone 8 for 8 on their first 8 years making the Pro Bowl gets in the Hall of Fame, and Peterson did that. I'm not sure if there was a point where Patrick Peterson was the best corner in football, but obviously with the return game that he had early in his career and the longevity and the length of time where he played excellent football, I think that you start to understand that he is going to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, and was on the Hall of Fame All-2010s team. So that's a pretty good run. I mean, 3-time first-team All-Pro is a loud mouthful to say about Patrick Peterson. To this day, I think Patrick Peterson is as physically gifted an athlete as I've ever seen at LSU. there are just some guys that do some things out there that you look at and go, whoa. And for me, the first time I ever saw Patrick Peterson run a kickoff back, I saw the speed that he was moving with, and you knew the size. That was always obvious. But when he got to full speed, I just don't know if I've ever seen anybody look like that. Maybe Fournette on one of his best days, but Peterson was a different dude. And when he took those kicks back against North Carolina on the carpet of the Georgia Dome, it was like, whoa. Like that, I mean, I just could not believe the acceleration. He had a punt return against West Virginia that looked good, and he did some things that were impressive. But the speed he showed against North Carolina on those two returns was just remarkable. And I remember an interesting, like, your eyes go to it when you're in the stadium. When he was man up with Julio Jones, like that is you can't look away at those two guys because you could just tell when they showed up on their respective campuses. When Julio Jones, who was from Foley, Alabama, showed up in Tuscaloosa, when Patrick Peterson comes over from Pompano Beach to LSU, they showed up looking like NFL guys. It's just it's becoming more prevalent this day and age because there's just more information out there about weight training, and kids are just more prepared to play than they've ever been. But at that time, freshmen didn't show up looking like that. And he did. And it was just amazing to watch him immediately. He was immediately one of the best players on the team. And by the time you got to 2010, he was one of the best players in the nation. And it was cool that a guy that spent his time here at LSU and that had that career is considered in that light. I just didn't necessarily immediately go to that when I thought about him. And I was wrong because this kind of proves its point. But to go through the guys in that draft class, Alden Smith, who was amazing for San Francisco early in his career. You had him. You had Jimmy Smith, Prince Amukamara. You had Robert Quinn, who was a really good player from that draft as well. Justin Houston was stud out of that class. Marcel Darius was a first-team All-Pro for the Bills and retired in his 20s. You got Cameron Hayward, who's just played for 16 seasons in the NFL. That's been a really, really good player. And then the last guy on this list that you're probably thinking in your head, Cam Jordan, who's potentially going to go to the Hall of Fame. Like, that's a pretty salty draft class when you consider the talent, the depth, and the potential Hall of Famers. And you just think about the edge with J.J. Watt, Cam Jordan. That's two dudes that have got a lot of sacks to their name.
Is Cam the only one still playing?
Cam Hayward,
yeah, he's still
is unsigned, but he's not announced that he's done.
Okay, so it's really just those two at this point.
Yeah. You know who Cam Hayward played with in high school?
Yeah, T-Bob. Every time he talks.
Okay.
Come on, man. Yeah. T-Bob talked about it every morning.
All right, I didn't know. Two left standing in 2026, 15 years after that draft. That draft's going to produce a lot of Hall of Famers, and I think Cam's going to make it. We'll see where he finishes on the sack list this year. I haven't taken the time to look at what's attainable for him, like who's within like 10. And I think that's probably the ceiling for Cam with sacks this year. I'm well aware of what he did last year. I think 10's probably the ceiling for him. I would probably wager it's closer to 5 for him this year. But if there are some guys right there in front of him, maybe able to move up. I know he's in the top 10 at this point.
He's 17.
Oh, I thought he was in the top 10.
Yeah, he's 17. He's 132. He can get Lawrence Taylor at 132.5.
Well, that's very doable.
I'm about to say, so Lawrence Taylor. So Lawrence Taylor, John Abrahams, 133. Yeah. Leslie O'Neal, 132.5.
How much to get into the top 10?
All right, so top 10 right now is DeMarcus Ware at 138. So Cam's at 132.
So he needs to get 6.5 sacks.
Yeah.
That's probably like around the Vegas line on him. If he stays healthy, 6.5 is probably the Vegas line.
Yeah.
To get into the top 10 all time. And that's probably when I'm surprised he wasn't in the top 10. I think I read somewhere that he's likely to get in the top 10 this year if he stays healthy, and that'd be amazing. If he's in the top 10 in sacks all time, you have to put him in. And look, there's probably a lot of people listening right now that are going, what are you even talking about? Of course he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And maybe so, but there are some guys that are just easier for me to do. So like I don't have to think about Aaron Donald.
Oh, no conversation.
But I have to think about Patrick Peterson. I don't have to think about J.J. Watt, but I have to think about Cam Jordan. But the longevity, and I think there's something to longevity. I think that's part of the resume. I hear the term compiler a lot. Well, he just hung around and scored more points in basketball, or hung around and got more statistics. But to be able to hang around is impressive. Like, I don't know that Frank Gore was ever the best back in the NFL.
No, but he played forever.
But he played forever, and that's amazing.
At running back.
It's amazing. So, that's part of the resume. And when you play that long and stay employable that long at that level, the NFL cannot wait to cut guys loose and get younger and cheaper. They just do it. It's like a bodily function for them.
Cam Jordan, he literally was going through it.
So to just to be able to stick around, I think is part of the resume. So it's an interesting piece. I read a lot of it, and it had a little bit of a local angle with Patrick Peterson and Cam Jordan. So hopefully both those guys go into the Hall of Fame in short order. That's an interesting story up by Bill Barnware up there at ESPN.com. Is the 2011 NFL Draft the best defensive class ever? All right, let's take a time out. We'll come back, talk a little Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about friends at Marucci. Get on by and take a tour. 2 reasons why you would do that. 1, to see the facility where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball. You can see where they make 1,200 every single day. You can see where they mold them, they stain them, ship them off to the best players in the world. It's a very, very cool tour to go on and see that. You can also, while you're taking the tour, learn the story of 2 ex-big leaguers and their trainer making a bat in the backyard, how it takes a 20-year evolution to the official bat of Major League Baseball. It's awesome stuff. So go by and take a tour. Kids are just clamoring to get out of the house, summer vacations trying to wind down, but looking for something to do. A tour of Marucci is always a great option, and with that tour comes a discount in the hitter's house with that ticket, so you can get it at MarucciSports.com. Go take a tour of Marucci and check them out online at MarucciSports.com.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern Classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years of redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I've told you all this a couple of times, and I know that it sounds crazy when it's 105 degrees outside, and I'm talking about Christmas, but I talked to David Duvall about it. It makes sense. If you are planning to have a big family get-together for Christmas or Thanksgiving, which comes up a month sooner, now's the time to potentially get that bathroom redone, to start that process, to get things laid out, to get that work started so that it's complete by the time that big family gathering comes around. David says he hears from people all the time at the end of summer with an eye on the holidays because things happen. Fall gets on you and you get into a routine. Time starts going quickly, and then all of a sudden you look up and you've got a dysfunctional bathroom and you got 20 people coming. Well, that's a problem. So think about it now. If you're planning on having a big family gathering and you haven't been to that upstairs bathroom in a while, or you know that bathroom that y'all seldom use in the house that might get used that weekend, but there's an issue with it, call David. Have him come in. Now's the time to think about that so that you can get out in front of it, get it done, and check that off the list before the craziness of the holidays is upon us. He's happy to have that conversation with you. Reach out and get that free consultation at onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com. All right, I just want to go so surface area on this because starting tomorrow, we'll get in depth on the Saints. So I want to just look very, very much zoomed out at this, at my overarching themes of training camp for New Orleans. It obviously starts with Shuck, right? I'm not going to try to bury that and find you some cool other angle. We mentioned this with Sean Fazan in hour number 1. There's very little that matters significantly if the Shuck thing doesn't work. Your cap situation doesn't matter if the Shuck thing doesn't work. All the new playmakers that you went and got in the offseason don't matter if Shuck doesn't work. Your coach is in big trouble if Shuck doesn't work. If Tyler Shuck busts, then you're in big trouble. I don't have any significant reason to believe that's going to happen, but not saying that out loud would be foolish. That's the biggest story of this entire thing. And as we mentioned, this time last year, Shuck was just trying to work for his second-team reps, just kind of splitting some reps with Rattler. Now, he gets a full baptism of a training camp to be the starting quarterback. And I think this could be as impactful a 6 weeks as Tyler Shuck has in his career, because you've got a little bit of experience, you've got the full reign of the offense, and you've got the opportunity to make so many strides, so many improvements because you get so many practices. There's an element of when he took over last year in the middle of the season where you're so deep into the season and it's week to week and it's opponent based and you're trying to game plan for games. For the next 6 weeks, Tyler Shuck can just worry about the Saints and Tyler Shuck. And that's hard to do when you got to go play the Giants next week. You got to know the Giants. So this is a huge, huge camp for Tyler Shuck, and I think it's going to be a really, really good one. So that's obviously number 1. Breaking news, the Saints' second-year quarterback needs to be good. The second one is the most obvious for all the teams in the NFL. It's how's your first-round pick looking? Because that's a guy you brought in to help. First-round picks are brought in to help. Second-round picks are brought in to start. And then the guys from the third round on, you hope you find some depth pieces and a diamond in the rough here or there. But your first 2 picks need to contribute right away. And that's Jordan Tyson's situation. And so for him, it starts with health. They didn't really let him do much of anything in the summer workouts, the OTAs, minicamp, all that. There just wasn't a lot of Jordan Tyson. He was there, just wasn't doing a lot. What is he doing tomorrow? Is it still kid gloves, or is it time to go? I don't know. We'll see. but it's a big, big story because he is the most gifted wide receiver on this team. He is a more gifted wide receiver than Chris Olave. That doesn't make him better. It just means size, speed, athleticism, playmaking ability. Like, he's just got some traits that outweigh Chris Olave's. So he raises the ceiling of this Saints offense significantly, but he's got to be on the field to do it. Big, big deal. How long does Chris Olave stay in camp? Is there a chance that he, in the middle of this thing, starts to look for a new contract and stops practicing? Because I don't really want that. I want him to play with Tyler Shuck. I want him to practice with Tyler Shuck. I just told you in the intro here that this is perhaps the most impactful 6 weeks of Tyler Shuck's early career. I need the veteran receiver out there. And it sounds like, from those that cover the team, that Chris Olave is interested in the Saints winning this year. And that he's interested in a new contract, but he's interested in the Saints winning this year, and he's going to be a part of that. And I told you last year how much I thought of Alvin Kamara doing what he did in the middle of a contract negotiation, playing through pain, showing up for work, being part of a team that wasn't really going anywhere while they were negotiating a new contract. I didn't like the new contract, but I liked Alvin's professionalism. And I kind of expect the same from Chris Olave. I think he would like the Saints to pay up. I think the Saints would like to go a little bit under the market. But ultimately, how long do you keep Chris Olave in camp? Because him pulling out, which, again, I have no inclination he's planning on doing, would be a big deal. Guys do it every year, and Olave is in a position to do it. Because the market's been set at wide receiver. And, like, we talked about it with Sean Pazan in hour number one. Like, yeah, Drake London got a ton of money. But guess what? Everybody that signs a new deal at that position with the numbers next to Chris Olave's name gets a huge deal. It's coming. But they need to do it before he starts to hold out. This is another very, very obvious one, but that's kind of where we're living right now. The health of your offensive line is very important. Eric McCoy cannot miss 6 more weeks this year. He needs to be out there, protecting his quarterback, staying healthy. You invested heavily in left guard in the offseason. You invested heavily in terms of draft capital with your 2 tackles. That group needs to become a strength. When you go out and you invest back-to-back first-round picks at offensive tackle, and then you go out and spend the most money of any team in the NFL at left guard, the investment you have put into that position in both resources in the draft and then literal money suggests it should be a strength of your football team. It should be a strength of your team. Well, they need to be out there, and they need to be a strength of the team. Year 3 for Fuaga. Year 2 for Banks. Edwards coming in. McCoy off injury. Ruiz is what it is. But that needs to be a strength of the team, and it needs to show that. And when you go out and you play in these joint practices, and I don't know how much preseason action we're going to see from these guys, but they need to be dominant at times. They need to assert themselves up front. The best Saints teams early on in Breeze's tenure, yeah, Breeze was chucking it all over the place, and Colston's making plays, and Reggie Bush is super fun. Yeah, it's all awesome, but you also had 2 of the best guards in the NFL, and your offensive line was awesome. Awesome. You're great at left tackle. You were solid at right tackle. You need to get back to that. And it's been a mess, both in terms of the play and the injuries, for 3 years now. So, again, health is always paramount in camp. So that's not some sort of in-depth breakdown I'm giving you, but it's just crucial for this team too, because you got to get those guys healthy. And then I mentioned this last week, but we'll tie it all together because these are just general talking points that I've baked into one segment here. But I am intrigued by the kicking competition. And I do think that unlike 80% of the action in preseason games, the performance of the kickers in preseason is indicative of what you're going to be looking at in the regular season, because it's full speed and the game result doesn't matter, but those guys' professional job status matters, and that's what they're going out to kick for. You're doing that in the regular season too, but you're trying to win the game. But you can't simulate that pressure as much in practice. But I think in the stadiums against another team with your job on the line, I think that creates enough pressure to see how you perform in that moment. And I'm pulling for Charlie Smith. But I think there's going to be competition there. We're not in the Sean Payton era where we're firing kickers every 5 minutes, but you got to get. I mean, they gave Groupie the longest leash I've ever seen for a kicker missing kicks. He was missing on the weekly last year, and they kept trotting him out there. So there appears to be some real leniency at the position. I'm curious how that position shakes out because, as I mentioned last week, the Saints are probably likely to be in some close games. You need your kicker to come through in close games, no question. That is a story in training camp. I'm not concerned with what Kamara does in training camp. I don't care what Cam Jordan does in training camp. I know what Pete Werner is. I know what Caden Ellis is. I'm not concerned about Olave. I know what some of the free agent guys are. Like, I know what HN is. I know what he's going to be. I don't have a lot of concern about Justin Reed. I'm not concerned about the performance of Chase Young. Like, there are a lot of relative certainties on this team. But the variables are the ones that you're looking for here, and I think we're kind of checking those off one by one. I know corner depth and talent is a concern. I know they're going to figure out what Jonas Sanker can do at that star nickel position. Those are interesting storylines as well. This is a team that has some storylines here and that has some room for growth, room for improvement, and I think that this is as optimistic a time of year as there is. Maybe into August you see some highlights from practice, but everybody's healthy right now, and nobody's lost a game. And nobody's fumbled in preseason. Nobody's lost a quarterback. Like, everybody's feeling pretty good about themselves, Saints included. That's kind of where I am with this team as they enter training camp, and that'll crank up tomorrow. Ross Jackson will be out there for LouisianaSports.net. We'll be talking about it every single day. Tomorrow we'll talk to Sharif. Kat Terrell has committed to come on a little bit later in the week. We'll chat with Luke Johnson on Thursday. So we'll have the Saints discussion coming fast and furious for you as the summer comes to a close. Black and gold in Metairie tomorrow on the practice field. Fired up for it. Jordan, is there a storyline for you that is coming up more often?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see because you can't replace Demario Davis. There is no replacing Demario Davis. Obviously, you bring in Caden Ellis to take that Demario role. But we can't sit there and say that Pete Werner has that other spot locked up. They have two inside linebackers. They're pretty much only going to run with Caden Ellis and either Danny Stutzman or Pete Werner. So I'm really intrigued to see, is Stutzman going to take that leap you kind of want to see and beat out Pete for that spot? And I'm looking at Pete's contract. So after this year, he only has 1 year left on it. Yeah. So the Saints would like to essentially put Stutzman in that role and then move off Pete Werner next year. So I'm very intrigued to see how that battle is going to take place because obviously Pete knows Stutzman here to take his job, and I'm not trying to get my job taken. Yeah. So it's going to be the fight of the fittest out of those two.
Stutzman had a very predictable rookie progression to okay, we know who he is, made 1 billion tackles at Oklahoma, out there a lot in the preseason, doesn't play early.
Special teams
gets in some action as the months go on, then more action at the end of the season. It was just a very gradual rise, and that's what you want to see from, especially from guys you take in the middle of the draft, because they're not expecting those guys to help you much in September, but they can help you in November, and then as the contract moves forward, that's a big deal. So yeah, I like that. I like the Saints defense. I'm confident in Brandon Staley, and I'm as I've said before, like, this is kind of a selfish way to look at things, but like the end in LA was not good for Brandon Staley, and you hope, if you're a Saints fan, this is not Brandon Staley's fan, but if you're a Saints fan, that stink stays on him for a little bit so that they can build some continuity until he gets
one
another
more year.
shot.
Just one more year. Let's see what we do this year, and then you know what, Staley, if you do a good job, just get out of town. Hit the road.
We shall see. All right, Saints back in action for training camp tomorrow. We'll certainly be talking about it. Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. They're online at GuaranteeHealth.com. GuaranteeHealth.com. Come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carbo and his team really doing a lot of benefits work these days. If you are a CFO, you are a business owner, and that falls under your purview, call Jonathan Carbo and his team. I know that the renewals this time of year are bumpy. I know that a lot of folks are unhappy with the premiums they're paying to insure their employees, the healthcare and vision, dental, all that. If you need a second option or just want to discuss things, Jonathan Carbo and his team are happy to do it. They have had a lot of success in recent months with giving a second option to insureds, and that in turn helps the bottom line. I can't promise you a 12% reduction. There's not a magic wand, but they can often give you a second option, and sometimes it's cost effective, and it can change the bottom line for you in terms of your benefits expenses. So give them a call. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. It's so good, it's wrong. Choose from a variety of classic sides like our zesty Cajun seasoned fries, savory red beans and rice, or sweet corn grits. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Monday show is always brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Rachel Fricke and her team just do outstanding work over at Guarantee Health Solutions. If you're in the healthcare space and have not considered the patient experience to the degree that you probably should have, that's where Guarantee Health Solutions comes in. Rachel went through this process with her mother after her mother was diagnosed with cancer, and she noticed just how impersonal the healthcare situation was. She noticed how unpleasant the process was and thought she could change it. She's got a background in hotels, in hospitality, and so she's taken that skill set to the healthcare world. So if you've got an urgent care, if you've got a hospital, if you've got a dental practice, or whatever the case may be, and you haven't thought about the functionality and ease to use of your website or your digital marketing spend, you haven't had your staff trained on how to handle patients as they come in, or you don't have a system in place that makes sure that patients come back for their follow-ups and annuals. These are all things that Guarantee Health Solutions can do while you're worried about healthcare. They're worried about helping your business succeed. It's Guarantee Health Solutions. We're online at GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com. All right, lot to get to here on this Monday. We opened with Logan Schmidt, who left-handed pitcher from California, taken in the second round by the Guardians, and he's got an hour and 10 minutes to sign. He announced last night that he had no plans to do so. I was told that he would have to go to Goodyear, Arizona to take a physical. So if he has not boarded an airplane to go take a physical, then he's not going to be able to sign, and that would leave him unsigned as a second-round pick. And then he has two options. Go to LSU, where he's signed, or take the junior college route. LSU gives him the opportunity to just stay here for 3 years to develop and to potentially become the next Cade Anderson, become the next Paul Skeens, Anthony Ianson, Gage Jump, guys who signed for north of $1.7 million. If he chooses to do that, he would be a big piece to LSU's program for 3 years. However, he's always considered himself a guy that was going to bypass college and sign professionally for a lot of money. And the junior college route allows him the chance to do that more quickly. So now it's Jay Johnson's job to convince him that LSU is the place for him. If you noticed in the Instagram post yesterday that there was no mention of LSU anywhere, just said I'm excited for what's next. And most often when guys don't sign for the draft or pull out of the draft, it's a go Tigers, seeing Baton Rouge put on the purple and gold, very pro LSU because that's what's next. And Schmidt didn't do that. So we'll see what LSU is able to do now that the deadline is passing for the Cleveland situation. There's not really a pressing deadline on them right now. You got to enroll in school at the fall somewhere, but that's down the road. It's still late July. So I'll keep you posted on that on this show. I'll keep you posted on that at LouisianaSports.net as well. My gut tells me that he's junior college bound, but Jay Johnson's a pretty good recruiter, and the sales pitch is pretty good. So if he can land him, that'd be a big deal. So you can catch that segment that led off the show on demand. It went into a little bit more detail about what happened. There was an agent switch and the whole deal. So that's at the top of the show. We also talked some Saints with Sean Fazan. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked a little LSU in-depth chart with the returning games. If you want to check that out, you can. That's at Hunt on LSU. For right now, we just close out the show with some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so North Carolina just seems like the circus that will never end. So USC football GM Mike Lombardi was placed on an administrative leave following a human resources complaint filed by a former football front office employee. So at this rate, is this looking like this will be Bill Belichick's last season in college football? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it, man. This is just a soap opera that no one wants to watch. It's a cancelable soap opera.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they did on the field last year. I have no idea what North Carolina football did last year. Were they like 4-8 or were they like 6-6?
They were atrocious. Max Johnson. I don't know the exact record. I just know they were bad.
I have no. All I know is that Bill Belichick's girlfriend runs around and that they've got people filing lawsuits, and it's just I have no interest. Get it out.
They're kind of like Colorado that you don't want to watch. At least with Colorado, it's like, let me just see what they look like. You kind of just want to push North Carolina to the side.
Colorado either.
Well, at first, they were good. They was good watch.
They got Travis Hunter and Shedeur.
Yeah. Nowadays, I don't even couldn't tell you who's on the roster. So Indianapolis Colts quarterback Daniel Jones said Monday that he is fully cleared to participate in training camp from his December Achilles injury that prematurely ended his 2025 season. Keep in mind, he also had a broken fibula in the other leg at the same time. Ultimately, I guess it's one of the reasons why he tore his Achilles. So is it insane to fully recover after two crazy injuries in the same month already? Take it or leave it.
I mean, modern medicine, I'll take
modern
it.
Medicine.
You know what I was thinking about? I probably shouldn't say this on the radio. I was thinking about this morning because their injury stuff's popping up all over the football stuff.
Yeah.
I've never gotten hurt. I'm 38 years old. My worst injury, I sprained my ankle.
Really? That's your worst injury?
I've never broken anything, never torn anything.
I've never torn nothing.
Achilles.
I've broken my hand. I've broken my finger. I've had a concussion.
Nope. When I was a little kid, I put a bucket on my head and I hit the coffee table with my chin. Had to get stitches.
Oh, I'd be one better. I was running in Target and got smashed by one of them little shopping carts. Oh, I had to get stitches above my left eye and everything. I was bleeding. Oh yeah, I have a vivid memory of that.
But I just never gotten hurt. I wonder when my first injuries come. I mean, eventually.
Oh, don't do that. No, don't put it in the air.
Something's got to happen.
No, don't put it in there. You can't put that.
Well,
in there.
I probably shouldn't say it on radio.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Nah.
We're in the trust tree.
Yeah, we ain't got no wood in here.
Nothing's gonna happen.
We ain't got no wood in here. We're gonna knock on something. So. Jacob Mizorowski threw 66 fastballs yesterday versus the Rockies. All 66 were over 100 miles an hour, setting a new MLB record for the most 100-mile-per-hour fastballs in a single game. Mizorowski ended up striking out 12 out of the first 13 Colorado batters. So has the Miz taken throwing fastballs to another level? Take it or leave it.
I will take it. I'll take it. It's breaking my heart. That organization, I do not know how they continue to do this.
Yeah.
Their business model as an organization is to draft players, bring them up right when they get to the end of their first contract, trade them, and then get 3 more guys to do the same thing. And it works every time.
Yeah, that's
They traded
crazy.
their ace from last year, Freddie Peralta, to the Mets. He sucks out loud. He's terrible. And they traded him for prospects that are going to come up and just be superstars. And they just do this time and time again. They let Willie Adames walk at shortstop to to the Giants, they get better at shortstop. Bryce Train comes up.
It
drives me insane because they spend no money and trade all their good players, and they beat the Cubs by 1,000. It's unbelievable.
It's funny because the main person I thought about when you talked about what the Brewers do was Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns was elite. And he just
get up.
Fell off the face of the planet now.
Get up.
You're right, man.
They don't pay anybody, and they just get 3 more dudes.
It's unheard of. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It on this Monday. Again, hope your work week's off to a good start. Check out Guarantee Health Solutions online at guaranteehealth.com, guaranteehealth.com. In a way, we've made it through the long summer. In a way. Now, the Saints' first training camp practice doesn't move the needle too much because we're just going to throw some helmets on and jog around out there. But it is over. LSU baseball bowing out in May is not advisable from a content perspective. We didn't like that. But we made it through. Transfer portal for baseball, big. MLB draft, big. Lane Kiffin, Vanity Fair stuff, for SEC Media Days. We finally made it. We're through. We're to the football season. Saints on the practice field tomorrow. We'll have a full report from Sharif Ishak. We'll have more development on the Logan Schmidt situation with LSU baseball as well, and continue to get closer to LSU football, which is just over a week away. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand. Matt's back. He's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
But first, let me tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. They're offering bonus cash on select new vehicles to firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, EMT paramedics. And they got inventory to fit any budget. If you're looking for a GMC, they're offering employee pricing on the 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's. That's now until August 3rd. You can get on by and get up to $8,000 off of select Denali's. And Chevy's offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on the 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days now until August 3rd. Those deals are rapidly coming to their conclusion, so get on by and see them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. The entire inventory is on the website. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Experience that Fabry first-class customer service. That's what you get. That's what they've given you for 35 years. So check them out online at FabryChevrolet.com and go by and see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Fabry Chevrolet GMC.